Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the November 5th City Council meeting. We're glad you're here. Just might remind you to silence your phones, and we'll get started.
Richardson.
Here.
Garza.
Here.
Magers.
Here.
Goss.
Here.
Bass.
Here.
Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Tonight we'll have Daryl Peterson lead us in prayer.
What a wonderful day it is, huh? Dear Heavenly and most gracious Father, we come before you and we thank you, Lord God, for the liberty and the freedom that we have in America. And Father, we just thank you for the privilege we have to come before you tonight. And we thank you, Lord God, as we come together that, Father God, you're the only one that really knows who's the best of the best to be elected. And I thank you, Father God, that choices be made right. And Father, we just take what comes. And Father, I just thank you for this service. I thank you, Father God, for our leadership here. And I thank you, Father, for the privilege that we have, that we can come in and voice our opinions and do what needs to be done. And I just thank you for the night. I thank you for whatever the decisions be made, that, Father, it's going to be good decisions, the best that can be best. And we thank you for these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Item number 4, proclamations.
We'll start off with the Veterans Appreciation Month. If Mr. McCarville would meet me at the podium, please. Whereas, since the birth of our nation, American patriots have stepped forward to serve our country and defend our way of life. And whereas, with honor and distinction, generations of servicemen and women have taken up arms to win our independence, preserve our union, and secure our freedom. And whereas, these heroes have put their lives on the line so that we might live in a world that is safer, freer, and more just, and we owe them a profound debt of gratitude. And whereas, throughout the month of November, the citizens of Reno County salute the soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Coast Guardsmen who have rendered the highest service any American can offer. Whereas, on November 11th, 2024, marks the 70th anniversary of the modern Veterans Day holiday and the 105th anniversary of the Armistice Day commemorating the end of World War I. Whereas, numerous celebrations and events, remembrances will be held throughout the month of November in Reno County. Now, therefore, I, Greg Fass, the mayor of the city of Hutchinson, Kansas, do hereby recognize the month of November 2024 as Veterans Appreciation Month. Congratulations. Would you like to say a few words?
I hadn't really prepared anything. I was just thinking as I was listening to the mayor here. Just got back last Thursday night from the reunion of the survivors of the Battle of Ripcord, which was March 12th through July 23rd, 1970. My wife's first husband was killed there. A whole bunch of other people, friends of mine. And then I was reflected on not just their sacrifice, but one of my West Point classmates, Kenyatta Shaughness, was missing in action from 1971. And was eventually his remains were repatriated, and my former roommate Robin Kababa was there in the Punch Bowl on September 20th, where they were able to put a rosette on the plaque there with his name on it, signifying that his remains had been returned. So, although a lot of these things were a long time ago, the veterans still remember, and we appreciate everybody else remembering the sacrifices and of those veterans.
Thank you. Lynn Schwartz with Manico. Schwarzkopf.
Yeah.
That's what I thought. And
Yeah.
oh, gotcha.
Just missed a little bit.
Do you have anybody else here?
Yeah.
You'd like to?
Joel A.
All right,
My
come on
son,
up.
Mark.
We'll make a party.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Whereas, in 1924, A.R. Mann founded an architectural practice in Hutchinson, Kansas, which emphasized specialized expertise in the areas of educational, commercial, and institutional design. And whereas, through the years, the trademark of Mann and Company has been known for carefully planned facilities which are flexible, meeting current and long-range needs, integrating quality components which can withstand the exterior elements of the nature and the internal demands of high traffic and rugged use. And whereas the projects of Mann and Company may include many prominent buildings in the city of Hutchinson, including churches, schools, commercial, public, and recreational buildings. And whereas the city of Hutchinson is proud to acknowledge Mann & Co. PA as an integral part of the history and of business district in the city of Hutchinson, Kansas. Now therefore, I, Greg Fass, Mayor of Hutchinson, Kansas, do hereby congratulate Mann & Co. PA for their 100th year anniversary in business in the city of Hutchinson. Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, and I we were talking earlier, and one of the previous proprietors of the business I knew well, and what I didn't know was what we were talking about in the hallway. And why don't you share some of the stuff that you built and had a part in?
Well, we've been around for 100 years. I haven't been there quite that long, but I have been there for, I'll admit, 50 years. Joel for 31 years and Mark for 22 years. We've done 3,000 commissions since 1973 when we first came to Hutchinson. And a lot of those projects, thankful to the city of Hutchinson, have been in the Hutchinson area. Thinking of the sports arena, the Cary Park Golf Course. Help me out, guys. What is Dillon Nature Center? Yeah. And Hutch Lofts, Grace Episcopal Church, Trinity Church. We name it. We had to walk down memory lane in our 100th when we did our 100th celebration, and so this has been kind of fun for us. So it's great to be in Hutch. We thank you, Hutch, and the council for recognizing us.
Yeah, thanks for coming. Is anybody here to receive a proclamation for Small Business Saturday? Okay. Well, you can receive this too. I'm going to go ahead and read this to myself since I'm a small business owner.
Congratulations, Greg.
I usually don't work on Saturdays, so I don't know if it'll apply. But I think it's important that we recognize our small businesses and do what we can to help them. So, whereas the government of Hutchinson, Kansas celebrates our local small businesses and the contributions they make to our local economy and community. And whereas, according to the United States Small Business Administration, there are 34.7 million small businesses in the United States. Small businesses represent 99.7% of firms with paid employees. Small businesses are responsible for 61.1% of net new jobs created since 1995, and small business employ 45.9% of the employees in the private sector in the United States. Whereas 68 cents of every dollar spent at a small business in the U.S. stays in the local community, and every dollar spent at a small business creates an additional 48 cents in local business activity as a result of employees and local businesses purchasing local goods and services. And whereas 59% of U.S. consumers aware of Small Business Saturday shopped or ate at a small independently owned retailer or restaurant on Small Business Saturday in 2023. And whereas Hutchinson, Kansas supports our local businesses that create jobs, boost our local economy, and preserve our communities. And whereas advocacy groups as well as public and private organizations across the country have endorsed the Saturday after Thanksgiving as Small Business Saturday. Now therefore, I, Greg Fast, Mayor of Hutchinson, Kansas, do hereby proclaim November 30th as Small Business Saturday. So, get out and shop.
Do you have a few words, Greg?
I do have a few more words, but no, just kidding. All right. Next item, please.
Item number 5, oral communications from the audience.
All right, this is the time where we hear from the public about things not on the agenda. You'll have 5 minutes, and we would love to hear from you if some of you came specifically to talk to us about an item that's not on the agenda. Approach the podium and give us your name and the city you're from.
My name's William Tatum, and I'm here from Hutchinson, 617 East 2nd, with a complaint, really,
Okay.
and try to find a remedy to it. I have a neighbor at 619 I've been complaining about since a year and a half. I've turned it in to the committees over here. They've come out, they've inspected, they've sent them letters. They even mixed my house up with it, and I had to come down and get that straightened up at 619. I've taken photos of the place. It is overgrown. The windows are all broken out almost. They're open, rain, snow, everything going in it. The back door's been kicked in. I've seen them go in and out, taking stuff. Now they've even gotten worse. I know they got a complaint on them because I filed it. They took and came in with a wagon and stuck out there in the driveway. It's full of trash, been there for 5 months. They also pulled a bus in there 4 months ago, school bus. Windows down, everything. Last week, they pulled another car in back there. It's got a notice on it from some other property that the cops put on it. I took pictures of all that. They also had all the power, all the water shut down to this house for over a year now. But people go in and out of it. The whole back of the house, they took a truck. I seen them with 4-wheelers, hooked chains to it, yanked all the back porch off. The wall in the back is like this, a 45. It's still there. The tree fell during our storm. I reckon they got a hold of them. They finally come and cut it up, got it out of my yard. Now they got piles in the backyard and on the right-of-way. I complained about that. Still there. So I thought I'd bring it to somebody.
All right,
see
well, I
what else can be
appreciate
done.
that. Is they the owner or just
The owner and
okay.
whoever else, I don't know all these
Okay.
people.
I gotcha. William, will you take those pictures and hand them to the guy in blue right there? He's our building official, and how about that for face to face? I hope we can remedy that. He's new here, and I
Okay.
think he may have some other ideas, so it might move the needle.
Okay.
Thank you for
Appreciate
your
it greatly.
comments. You bet. Take care. Anybody else have anything they'd like to bring before the council? Okay.
Got some pads up there with paper and pen. My name is Joe Castro. I live down 324 West C. Number one, this large gash here on A and Main on the east side crosswalk. Have you seen that thing over there?
Probably not that one.
Probably,
but
I
I've
know you
seen
haven't. It's been there for 3 years.
Oh, on the
Nobody's
front, in the
nobody's
middle of
picked it up.
in the middle of the block?
Right there on the crosswalk.
Okay,
A and Main right there.
okay. Well,
Took her on Main Street. You got 4th Street looking beautiful. 3rd Street got work. But that gash, it's not a crack. It's a gash. Okay. Number two, that grill behind Cary Park water park there. Have you seen that thing lately? I guess it got tore up this summer. Either lightning bolt hit it or it deteriorated. It's only been there since 1922. The whole backside of it is falling down. The red bricks that would help build it are all exposed on the backside of it. And I thought eventually the city people would go down there, clean it up, and knock that thing down, because it's never going to get repaired. I went by right now. It's still there. Number 2, the sidewalk entrance to Cary Park, that's been down for 5 years. Both sides are deteriorated. I went to the park department once, talked to somebody there. He said, we don't have nobody that does that kind of work. Right?
We contract a lot of things. I'm sure
I
we
know,
can
the
find
street,
somebody.
the street for one. You know, 4th Street, but can't do that job right there. I mean, it's 1922, so that thing was built around there, but it's all broken down. You take care of the golf course, the zoo, swimming pool, but it's there. It's just broken down. Been there for years and years, because I go to walk out there all the
Right.
time. But that grill behind the water fountain, I couldn't believe it when I went by this summer, and there it is still, deteriorated.
Well,
So I don't know if you're going to make them knock it down and just be done with it.
those are noted. Item
Yeah,
number
okay.
1, we just got a grant for $1 million to fix crosswalks and curbing downtown and some other things. So I think that, I know I think it's the same one that I've been concerned about. And I know they put a little bit of asphalt in it so you don't turn your ankle.
Which one?
Well, it's in the middle of B and A on Main. It's the one that goes right into Avenue A Park in the middle of the block. I was concerned about that one. I'm not sure we're talking about the same one,
Yeah,
but
the east side of the crosswalk. Yeah.
but I don't want you to be upset with me, but be patient on that item. It's in the works. The other items, I have a feeling after your comments will be elevated to.
Yeah, that grill over there behind
Well,
the water.
and the,
Yeah.
so the grill that you're talking about at Cary Park, that was reported to C-Click Fix on July 23rd.
Okay.
And I had sent a picture of it with some screenshots to Mr. Villegas. It appears as if it was vandalized. I mean, it was summer, school was out, I feel like it was vandalized. If you just look at the damage, I mean, struck by lightning maybe, but it looks like somebody intentionally tore it apart, right?
How, with sledgehammers?
I don't know. Hit it with
I
a
don't
car
think
or
so.
something.
Car? No.
It's pretty messed up.
I know it is.
The complaint was acknowledged by and flagged by city officials on the same day. But it doesn't appear that anything has happened since
No,
then.
it's
It's
still
still an
there.
open complaint in C-Click Fix.
Well, that's all
So
I got to say this time.
yeah, so
be
this
back in next week
should
with
help
something
bring
else.
attention to it.
Okay.
Are you familiar with the computer and can use our C-Click Fix?
No.
It's on the front page of hutchgov.com. There's a box that says C-Click Fix. You can click on it and then put all this information in. And what it does, it holds our staff accountable. At least they acknowledged it on that one,
Yeah.
although it's been
No,
since
we
late
put something
July.
on there. Yeah, there's
But
some
if
other
there's something
stuff.
you're seeing, maybe we're not seeing, it holds us all accountable if you'll use that application on that website.
Well, I thought I'd mention that A and Main crosswalk here with that gash.
Okay,
It's been there for years. So
all right.
that's
Well,
it. Till next
Joe?
go around.
All right, thank you for being here. Anybody else? All right, we'll move along then. Thank you for your participation.
Item number 6, consent agenda.
I have read that, and one little nugget I'd like to point out is we have year-to-date sales tax numbers. They're up 1% through October. It's a good thing. Helps. Every little bit helps. Any other comments or?
I have a comment about the Plum Creek plat. Matt left. Enrico, this is the final thing, right? Before.
Dave may have one more item that we'll need. Do you know, Dave? On Plum
Here's Matt
Creek?
to save the day.
Question on Plum Creek?
Yes.
This is the last item for the plat of Plum Creek.
Okay.
do you have anything or no? Okay, then this is it.
Okay, so do we know after approving this, when work will begin, or like what's next?
Matt Williams, Director of Community Development. I know we've already received the bids. Looks like we don't, I'm not sure if Evan knows the progress of the bid with APAC to get the roads built, but I know that they were waiting on this. We heard from JEO just last week that they were about to start infrastructure construction.
Okay, so do we know when, like the first house will start to be constructed?
I do not know that
Rough
right now. I
ballpark,
know
spring
that-
of next year?
Yeah, spring of
Okay.
next year, I think, is when they're hoping to start construction of homes.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yep.
It's like the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, it's good
Finally,
news.
so that's great. Thank you.
Anything else from council?
No.
All right.
I move to approve the consent agenda and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Richardson,
Yes.
Garza,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Goff,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes. Next item?
Item number 7, public hearing to consider a motion to approve an application for certificate of necessity by Tyrone Riley.
Need a motion to open the hearing?
So
I move
moved.
to open the public hearing.
Second.
Richardson,
Yes.
Garza,
Yes.
Mayor,
Yes.
Goff,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Paul Brown, City Attorney. Mr. Riley is standing at the podium. He has submitted his application for a certificate of public convenience and necessity for a taxi service in the city of Hutchinson, and that application has been submitted to the council. Also, the section of the city code relating to that when the council makes the decision, you take into consideration the number of taxi cabs already in operation, whether existing transportation is adequate to meet the public need, the probable effect to increase service on local traffic conditions, and the character, experience, and responsibility of the applicant. I will also tell you that if you look at the application and one of the other documents that I have, that the police department has approved and done their background check with respect to Mr. Riley, and also planning has approved his two-vehicle location as a home occupation business. And I'll leave it to Mr. Riley to tell you about his business.
So I'm Tom Riley, and I plan on, if granted, starting a taxi service where we'll be open. In the beginning, the goal is to be 24 hours, but starting out, we'll be open from like 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. It'll be a 2-van service if the council allows. So one of them is a 2016 Ford Transit, and then the backup vehicle, if demand calls, is a older van, which is a 2003 Town and Country. That's only for backup if we have like a lot of calls and I need an extra driver or something. For the time being, until I can get a matching vehicle, because I know you require the same vehicle, but both of the vehicles are the same color. And I just want to bring a reliable and safe company here. So.
All right. Anybody have any questions for Tyrone?
When do you expect to start?
So I was waiting for this, but when if approved, probably the next 30 days or so.
Okay. Anybody from the audience, this is a public hearing. Do anybody have any comments? Yes, sir. You can approach the podium and state your name and.
Sir, we haven't met. I'm Benjamin. I'm the president of the health system. Transportation is an enormous issue, especially out of our emergency department. If you're offering to bring a service to this community that would help us facilitate the transportation of folks away from the hospital to their homes or other places of relevance, this meets an enormous need for us, and it's probably going to take multiple strategies to meet that need, but good on you, man. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
I have a question for Paul Brown. would a second driver have to go through the same background check that he has gone
Not
through?
a driver. He will have the certificate. His drivers will have ID certificates.
Okay.
And they go through a background check, and they have an ID that's issued by our new city clerk, identifying all those drivers. So the drivers operate under Mr. Riley's certificate. There will be no further certificate.
Okay. But as a customer, it would be safe to assume that they have been fully vetted by HPD and that they
Yeah, they should have
they
a
lack-
photo ID
okay.
as a driver.
Okay. I have a question for you, Mr. Riley. So the address that you listed is an apartment complex, is that correct? And is the apartment owner or manager aware of your intent to operate a business out of the apartment?
Yes, the owner.
Okay.
The owner of the key management. They approved
Okay.
it, yeah.
Do you have anything that would prove that they are aware of this?
Yeah, they sent a letter. They gave a.
I've actually got
You
one.
have a letter? Okay.
Yeah.
I
got a
trust
letter
you.
from-
Okay.
I got a letter from them before I even put my application in.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So the statute as it's currently written, I think everybody up here can attest that there's been issues with it being abused, with it not having enough structure or teeth to it. Can you speak to the application process in ways that we as a council could improve it or change it to provide either a safer end product or a better process for you as an applicant? I know you applied a long time ago too.
Yeah. At this time.
You can think about it. If
Yeah.
you think of something tonight, I always think of things the next day. And I'm like, man, I wish I would have said that. So if you think of something, let us know, because I have a feeling that we will be taking up this conversation within the next probably 60 to 90 days to make some changes. It sounds like you're familiar with everything, as you mentioned. The vehicles are supposed to match. They're supposed to be labeled, that sort of thing. I appreciate you doing your due diligence. I apologize that you had to wait so long for this to be processed. I think the unknown was we all agreed that we wanted to have this conversation, and it was, do we want to have another taxi service come on before we have an opportunity to make those changes? We didn't want you to be victim to brand new set of rules that the other groups hadn't had to play by. So thank you for allowing us that time. I don't have any other questions for him. That the property was my main question.
Okay. Tyrone, I have more of a philosophical question. If you didn't have any of these regulations, would you still have a taxi service? Would you try to make one on your own?
Yeah. Yeah, I actually enjoy it. Yeah, I've done it before. I enjoy helping people. Like, it's fun. Like, I like meeting. You get meet a lot of different people. Of course, you get some wild people, but it's intriguing.
Yeah,
especially with my day-to-day job. It reminds me of my day-to-day job. Like, I mean, I would tell you, but this is public. But it's a lot like my day-to-day job, except for I don't travel. I love to travel, so it's like both best of both worlds. I'm meeting a lot of people and I travel, so travel around.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you say you're traveling, right? You travel on your other job?
No, I said it's like my other job because I
Okay.
work with a lot of people. So meeting a lot of people. I'm a people person.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
You say you're open 24 hours a day. You will get to that point, correct? You will.
So that's the goal to get to. Right now, it's going to be like 6 a.m. to 11 p.m. It's our goal. It's my goal. I mean, it's what it's going to be now. My goal is 24 hours. I want to kind of like play the field, see like what the demand is, and what I'm able to achieve. But 24 hours is the goal.
What's the name of your taxi service?
Mama K's Taxi. I'm naming it after my mom. She's the most influential
All
person in my
right.
life. Yeah, she adopted me, so like she's in ways. So I named it after her.
Okay.
Very good. Any other comments? All right. Do I have a motion to close the hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Richardson,
Yes.
Garza,
Yes.
Mater,
Yes.
Goss,
Yes.
Bass.
Yes. Do we need to further discuss? Do I have a motion in a second?
I move to approve an application for certificate of necessity by Tyrone Riley.
Second.
Richardson.
Yes.
Garza.
Yes.
Magers.
Yes.
Goss.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck to you.
Next item, please.
Item 5, I'm sorry, item 7B, public hearing to consider a motion to submit an application to the Kansas Department of Commerce for Small Cities Community Development Block Grant.
I move to open the public hearing.
Second.
Richardson.
Yes.
Garza.
Yes.
Magers.
Yes.
Goss.
Yes.
Bass.
Yes.
Carissa Paxton, Housing Coordinator. So we are going to be hearing from Stephanie Marsh from SCED, the South Central Kansas Economic Development District. After you, as a council, declared the third floor of 14 North Main as a blighted structure, they were then eligible for the Small Cities CDBG grant program through the Kansas Department of Commerce. So since June, they have been actively preparing their grant application, getting bids together, and are prepared to submit that, but there's some formalities first. We have this public hearing. Stephanie will fill you in on all of the exciting things that they have planned for 14 North. We will close the hearing and then a resolution certifying that we want to apply for that as a city, and then another later that we have the legal authority because we are a city, so we are eligible. So with all of that being said, do we have Stephanie with SCED on the Zoom?
Apologies. Didn't have this up. She is here. Is she doing your presentation? Or is she just talking? Okay.
Are you gonna frame this?
I just might.
Put it in your truck?
Sorry, I didn't mention that all of us up here have to have a small business. So. Even Garza's got a hot dog truck.
No, he doesn't.
Yeah, it does.
Did the Chiefs win this thing?
Hmm?
Did the Chiefs win this thing?
Yes.
Okay.
I fell asleep at halftime and woke up at 4:12 and fell down.
Who did they play?
Tampa Bay. Overtime. I don't know how my wife
It's okay.
didn't
No
think
pressure.
that-
You've got this.
Because she stayed up.
Such a cute little sound.
I've never heard of it.
Yeah, nothing to do. That thing's ready to go. She was not using video. Can you hear us?
Yes, I can hear you now.
And then I will try to get that boosted. So.
Sounds good. Okay. Hi, Stephanie. Thank you for your patience. Okay, so they're going to adjust the audio a little bit, and then I am just going to let you do your thing. You have been introduced, and they know why you're here, so.
Okay, good deal.
And is she going to share the screen or just speak?
Are you just speaking, or do you have a screen that you'll be sharing with us?
Yeah.
No, we can just go ahead and speak. I think that everyone, or at least there should be at least one copy of the resolution packet. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. That's basically what we're going to be covering today, as well as opening the floor for any public comment on the project. So I think you all are aware that the building owner at 14 North Main, who currently has a HEAL project, is wanting to pursue a CDBG commercial rehab project to further rehabilitate the building. I think that she has presented in the past what their business plan for it is, so I won't cover that again. So essentially the packet that you have in front of you are all of the required resolutions that need to be included with the grant application. So the first one would just be the resolution to apply, basically that the city council is giving permission for this application to proceed. It also details the match amount that the building owner will be contributing towards the project. There's also the blight resolution, which was passed a few months ago, just detailing the code violations and health and safety violations that the building currently has for that second floor. So that is also included for review in that packet. And there's just some other things like anti-displacement, assurances and certifications. Not all of those apply to this project because obviously no one is going to be displaced with this project. But with it being a HUD-funded program, those are just standard resolutions that are required with every application. So there's also a determination of level of review, which basically just kind of spells out what type of project this is, and then that will guide how in-depth the environmental review process will be post-award. Every one of these projects is required to have an environmental review that just basically checks in with all applicable agencies to ensure that there won't be any hazardous things that will be uncovered during the course of the project. And the final item there is the budget, which kind of shows all of the various monies that will be included in this project, as well as what CDBG money will be paying for and what the local match funds will be paying for. So the building owner is looking at a grant fund request of $213,400. They're looking at contributing $105,000 towards the project with a total project budget of $318,400. So this grant application window closes on December 2nd. It is a non-competitive grant round. So essentially, as long as the application's not missing anything, they pretty much fund every application that is submitted. So we're going to try to get this in for this 2024 round, since we do have a few more weeks until this application cycle closes. So hopefully after the hearing tonight, we can wait for the waiting period that's required after the public hearing is conducted, and then get her application submitted for this grant. Does anyone have any questions regarding the resolutions or the project itself or how CDBG works?
I have a question, Stephanie.
Yeah.
Do they, when you apply, do they give you any feedback of any missing pieces that you may have ahead of the deadline so that you could amend your application?
They do. So I will say though, they do have a lot of new people there at Commerce. we did have one application where the reviewer felt that there was something that was lacking, and instead of reaching out to us to get clarification, they just immediately thresholded the application, even though it was a non-competitive grant program. But we did push back on that, and they did then allow that application to go forward after they cleared up the confusion. I do feel like that their personnel is now a little more experienced to where they will reach out with questions or to request something that may be missing, instead of just thresholding and making the applicant reapply when the cycle reopens. Can't guarantee that, because we've only had that happen once, and that was when that person was very new, but he's been in his role now for almost a year. So I would anticipate at this point that if there's questions regarding something in the application, that they would reach out rather than just immediately thresholding it.
Okay, thank you.
Council, have any other questions?
No.
Anybody here to speak to this item from the audience? Again, this is a public hearing, so I'm excited that there's more activity going on downtown. But I believe, I didn't read through every single detail, but I believe there's a restaurant on the 3rd floor, and I think he's trying to get that to where it's
The second, the mezzanine,
Yeah.
yeah. This will
So-
give some ADA compliance to that area. And
very good. Without anything further, need a motion to close the hearing.
I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Richardson?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Goss?
Yes.
Bass?
Yes. All right. Do we have a motion to approve this?
I move to approve the submission of an application to the Kansas Department of Commerce for Small Cities Community Development Block Grant, and authorize the mayor to sign all related documents.
A second.
Richardson?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Goss?
Yes.
Bass?
Yes. Next item?
Item 7C, public hearing to determine the advisability of issuing industrial revenue bonds on behalf of Greater Wichita YMCA.
I move to open the public hearing.
Second.
Richardson?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Mayor?
Yes.
Goss?
Yes.
Bass?
Yes.
Angela Richard, Director of Finance. The Greater Wichita YMCA is proposing to issue IRBs for their new acquisition, construction, furnishing, and equipping their recreational facility to be operated at 20th and Lorraine. I have here David Foster and Shelley Hammond. They have a presentation of the project, and then I will discuss what the resolution and the steps mean that we will take.
Sorry, just didn't find the button. Good evening, Mayor, council members. My name is Shelley Hammond. I am the Chief Financial Officer for the Greater Wichita YMCA. And as Angela said, we are here this evening to discuss our new project within the city for a new YMCA to be constructed. This is the basics of our application from a financial perspective. So we are requesting through our application that was provided industrial revenue bond financing for $36 million. Those bonds will be sold by us through private placement. We have a number of local and regional financial institutions that have expressed interest, so we will handle that process, but that will be a private placement. What we are granted if this application is approved is the ability to issue those bonds, which allows us to acquire materials for the project on a sales tax exempt basis. You might be familiar with industrial revenue bonds under the statute can come with a property tax exemption. We are not requesting that. because as a nonprofit organization, we receive property tax exemption through other state statutes. So that is not part of this request. It is simply the IRBs with the sales tax exemption, not the property tax exemption. I'm going to turn it over to David, who's going to talk more about the project itself. And then I would be happy to answer any financial questions that you might have when he is done. So it's just right there.
All right, Mayor, Council members, David Foster, Branch Director of the Hutchinson YMCA. Thank you for allowing us to be here tonight. And with everything that we do at the YMCA, it really starts with our mission statement, which you can see up here on the screen. But just to paraphrase it, it's to make the Y accessible to all, regardless of the ability to pay. And we do that through a variety of ways. We have an annual fundraising campaign that helps people that otherwise wouldn't be able to either be a member or a program participant of our YMCA. So just a little bit about the history of the Y as an organization, nationally and globally. It was founded in 1851 in London, England as a Bible study for young men, and obviously has evolved over time to serve everybody and anybody in any community that the YMCA serves. Something specific to Kansas that I know a lot of you guys would maybe already know or be interested in is the two gentlemen in this picture. One on the left is Dr. James Naismith, who invented the sport of basketball, was also the first basketball coach in KU history, and he's holding the basketball with Fog Allen, who obviously Allen Fieldhouse is named after. But Dr. Naismith was a YMCA employee in Springfield, Massachusetts, and invented basketball in 1891, and there's been some other YMCA innovations over the years, but that one's kind of cool because it has a little bit of a Kansas tie. And then the Hutchinson YMCA here has a real proud past serving the community, really back since 1876 when the first YMCA meeting was held and the YMCA as an organization was formed here in Hutchinson by a Methodist minister. So sticking with those Christian principles and Christian values brought over to Hutchinson not long after the first Y was opened in America. And then we've been in our current facility where we sit on 13th Avenue since the early 60s and have had a couple of renovations over that time. The most recent large one being our lap pool that was added on with some other things in the late 90s. But as that's been quite a while now, our building is aging and we feel the need to have a new building that will help serve the community at a higher level. Obviously in 2022, we became the 11th full facility branch of the Greater Wichita YMCA, which includes 7 branches in Wichita proper, obviously Hutch now, Andover, Newton, and El Dorado. And that's really exciting. And as we like to say, anytime we build a new Y, it's our best Y, because it's our newest one, and we learn a lot of things that we can do better, even though we have some great facilities throughout the area. So our bright future does include the building that you see up here, and thanks to the forward progress and forward thinking of Benjamin Anderson, CEO of the hospital, and his board, they donated us front-facing land at 20th and Lorraine, which many of you guys are familiar with. That's where our new YMCA will be, and those are just some of the amenities that we look at having right now. We're right at about 5,000 total members, and we expect the day we open a new YMCA like this to double, maybe even triple our membership right here in Hutchinson, which would be great. We've got a groundbreaking set for later this fall. We're looking at about an 18-month construction timeline, and some of the amenities in the new Y you can see here. Obviously, I won't read them all, but the pools are a big deal because we want to still continue to have the only 2 indoor bodies of water in Hutchinson and Reno County, and provide programs that will serve the community, especially from a drowning prevention scale and standpoint, along with some other amenities, a family center, a gymnastics center, gymnasiums, all the things that you would mainly think of when you think of a YMCA. And if you've ever been or driven by or seen our YMCA in Newton, the footprint, the square footage will be about the same, about 76,000 square feet. And that's just to give you a little bit of a look. That could change as we're kind of nearing that process of getting all the renderings done in interior and exterior. But this just gives you a good idea of what the project would entail. And here's just a few other kind of that bigger aerial view. A little bit of a view when you're walking up from the parking lot. So it'll be a nice structure that I think will provide a lot of family memories and things like that for the residents of Hutchinson and Reno County. And there's finally a couple more just ground level views of what the new facility will look like. But This time I'd be glad to answer any questions that you might have, or just thank you in advance for your consideration of the IRB bonds and really a lot of your support on making this possible here in Hutchinson. All right.
Anybody have anything?
Yes, I'd like to. I'm going to be honest with you. I had a real struggle with this. I've been here for two days calling people and talking to people because we're going to get a tax exempt for on the materials. That was what I was told today, correct? On the
I believe
materials
that's
you buy
correct,
for
yeah.
that. Does the tax exempt go to after the building's put up? I mean, will they keep paying taxes on property stuff, but it doesn't go past that, right?
They're exempt from taxation anyway as a nonprofit.
I see.
Yeah. And Shelley can speak a little bit more to that specifically.
I may actually clarify that a little bit. We are exempt from income tax as a nonprofit. For sales tax in the state of Kansas, there's often confusion about this. We are sales tax exempt on an ongoing operational basis for things we buy for our youth development programs. So our camps, our child care, youth-facing programs, if we buy program supplies, for example, for our child care, those are sales tax exempt. Anything else, we are paying sales tax. So we are not, our statute that we fall under statewide is kind of unique in that we are sales tax exempt operationally for youth-facing program items, but nothing else. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. All my research I have been doing, you're very popular. People are excited about it. So I have gotten that out of my phone calls. So.
Well, good.
Yes.
Well, thank you. Any other questions or comments?
There was a traffic study performed. I don't know who this question would be directed to, but there was a traffic study for the traffic along Lorraine and 20th, I would assume.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any improvements to be made to, like, adding a light or adding a crosswalk or anything like that? It seems like that's going to have a significant impact on the traffic on Lorraine Street.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's in process right now, the
Okay.
study.
The study?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I speak from experience trying to turn out of there. That's our daycare right there. So, like, trying to turn out of there at 8 a.m. and at 5 p.m., it's pretty much impossible at certain times. So, or you're just
For sure.
sitting and waiting, and then you're playing peekaboo with the drivers next to you. So, I really appreciate, I know you guys have been working on this for a really long time. It seems like the financial impact is you're going from one tax exempt property to another. So you're taking a piece of agricultural land that was already owned by a nonprofit. So I don't know that it was being taxed as ag to begin with. So financially, there's really no, there's no tax impact to the city or to the other taxing districts. I love the YMCA. Practically grew up in the YMCA, so I look forward to you guys getting this up off the ground.
Great, thank you.
I'm a flying fish.
Good for you.
In the old Y.
That's awesome.
It's kind of sad to see that go. My children have names on record boards for swim team. Hopefully that is the school district going to keep that and use it, or do we know?
The building goes back to the school district, correct?
For the most part, yes.
The future of the building is unknown.
Okay, there we go. All right. Anything else?
No.
All right. Do I have a motion to close?
So moved.
Second.
All right.
Yes.
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 All right, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Thank you, David. Next item.
Item number 8, ordinances and resolutions. A, consider a resolution certifying legal authority to apply for 2024 Kansas Small Cities CDBG grant program.
Carissa Paxton, Housing Coordinator. So we've had the public hearing. We've agreed that we're, as a city, are going to assist Meredith and Nick Wallenhopt in applying for this. The reason that we have to we have to assist them in that is because it's a grant program for small cities. And so we are, by signing this resolution, we're saying that we are indeed a small city. We're less than 60,000 people, and that makes us eligible for this funding. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
All right, any questions?
I move to approve a resolution certifying legal authority to apply for 2024 Kansas Small Cities CDBG program and authorize the mayor to sign.
I'll second.
Richardson?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Biggers?
Yes.
Doss?
Yes.
Bass?
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 8B, consider a resolution determining the advisability of issuing industrial ready bonds for the purpose of financing the acquisition, construction, and equipping of health, wellness, and fitness facilities to be located in the city.
Angela Richard, Director of Finance. So we had the public hearing. The next step of the process is to approve the resolution determining advisability. So are there any questions?
Just to be clear, the YMCA is covering all cost of the bond. So there is absolutely we're essentially just like holding the certificate. We're not giving them any money.
Correct. I usually like to disclaim that, if you will, that we don't have any expenses in this, legal or otherwise. This is not our debt. We are in no way responsible for it. It doesn't impact our credit rating, our Moody's rating. Just for anyone who may be listening or for the public's knowledge.
Basically, have to say that every time.
Shout it from the rooftops.
Yeah. Shout it from the rooftops. Any other discussion or motion?
I move to approve a resolution determining the advisability of issuing industrial revenue bonds for the purpose of financing the acquisition, construction, and equipping of health, wellness, and fitness facilities to be located in the city, and authorized Mayor Greg Fast to sign.
A second.
Richardson?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Biggers?
Yes.
Doss?
Yes.
Bass?
Yes.
Item 8C, consider an ordinance authorizing general obligation bonds for the Atrium Hotel and Convention Center demolition.
Angela Richard, Director of Finance. This ordinance will allow us to bond the expenses incurred in relation to demolition of the atrium. This ordinance is a little bit different than the ordinances you normally see for capital improvement projects, in that normally there's a charter ordinance that allows for capital improvements. This isn't an improvement, it's a demolition. So we're using home rule for this ordinance in order to demolish a building. So this would allow us to bond up to 1.2 million. There's a little bit of a contingency up there in that, and then the bonding costs as well. And so what happens now is it gives us the ability to bond that if for some reason we get reimbursed the cost of the demolition. We would not have to move forward with bonding. It just gives us the ability to bond before we incur those costs.
How long would we have to be reimbursed before we don't have to bond it?
Really, that's a cash flow issue.
Okay.
on how long we can maintain that negative cash before we would need to bond it. We would need to bond it at some point. I did ask legal counsel at what point could we pay this off early. Say it did get assessed to property taxes, the property taxes got paid. Because of the advanced refunding ability was taken away from governments, we wouldn't be able to pay off that debt. Assuming we bonded this over 10 years, it'd be like 5 to 7 years before we could pay it off. So we're committed to holding those bonds for 5 to 7 years.
So this is basically a backstop financially if we get caught holding the bag.
Yes.
Okay.
Based on Mr. Joseph's inability to bond in Salina immediately after not bonding for us, I don't see him being able to repay this, whether it goes on the tax assessment or not. I mean, like, the viable way of moving forward is that this goes on a tax assessment goes to auction in 3 years and we get maybe something out of it. Maybe. So, but at that point, we would be 3 years into the bond, maybe holding it for another 2 to 4 years. So, that's how I see this playing out anyway.
I just wanted to answer the what if questions you may have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to understand this. Obligation bonds, like me and you had this talk, okay? So when he gets his property taxes due next year or whatever, does he have to pay this, or we have to tear the building down and get a bill first, right? Before it becomes due from him. Am I right?
Yes.
So we tear it down this year, and now we have $1.5 million on the property. So does he have to pay that with his tax that year to be clear of tax? You understand? Till he will be clear of taxes? Or he
Yes.
always will be behind? If he pays the taxes that he owes on it right now without our $1 million, will he be behind unless he pays it all, the million in the tax that year?
That's the way I
Yes.
understand it.
Okay.
Yes,
So-
but if you were to pay that and stay current, and we had the money through specials, I just wanted to run what if scenarios.
I see.
Yeah.
As in, what if he decides not to pay his taxes?
Right. Well, then, like she said, we'll be holding it for 3 years, and hopefully selling it after that.
So to clarify Mr. Garza's question, so let's say that we put this on the tax assessment in February, just hypothetically. Does that go to a quarterly assessment that he starts receiving the bill, or I don't own a business that I have anything that I pay that type of bill for?
I believe assessments go to the county clerk in September. They
Okay.
are then on their bills in November. So half would be due December, half in May.
Of 2025 and 2026.
Yeah, December 25 and May of 26.
So the first time that he would be considered delinquent would be May of 26.
And then down the road,
And
3
then
years.
3 years from
and
that.
then the day of reckoning finally comes.
Okay.
I appreciate that clarification, because I'm sitting here listening to all this, trying to process as well.
Well, and I think that this is something that, and we finally got it done. We're crossing the finish line, and people are going to expect to see something happen. And in reality, it's going to sit for at least 5 years with nothing, unless the owner takes the initiative to sell or to build on it. But it's going to sit for a while. And I think that's the reality that we have to accept and we have to make people aware of. And that has nothing to do with you. You're just sitting
But
there.
the property will be cleared.
Right.
The property will be cleared, and yes, it'll be assessed against that property. Is it likely he's going to pay his annual taxes? No. No, why would you continue to pay your taxes when you're going to get this bill on top of it? And can you recoup all that by selling that empty lot? Probably not, but there are some options there that the city has also, because and this goes back to some of your earlier questions about the priority of these matters, and you asked about whether or not we're in front of the mortgage. When it comes to a tax sale, if the lender does cowbell. If the lender does not redeem the property before the tax sale, it doesn't protect their mortgage. It doesn't protect their lien on the property.
They take second.
I'm sorry?
They take second fiddle to the.
Well, it doesn't stay there, because the tax sale will sell it free and clear of that. Because you buy it at a tax sale, it's yours. If you have a lien on it, you have to redeem that property before the tax sale. And then the ultimate proceeds from the sale are essentially apportioned between all the taxing entities and how much is owed. Also, the city has an opportunity at a tax sale to bid in its lien. But when we do that, I mean, you can acquire the property by doing that. You can't bid beyond your lien, but you have to pay all the taxes outstanding at the time.
But we pay them to ourselves.
Well, and everybody else.
Yeah.
More than you wanted to know.
A lot of variables to come into play over the next 3
Yes.
years. 4 years.
Just on another note, not really a variable, but there is this asbestos remediation going on right now. Through the end of the year, hopefully it'll be done. And then it shouldn't take very long to level the building, a month to 1 to 3 months. So anyway, just for those of you out there listening, it's progressing. I think at an expected pace.
Very good pace.
Yeah.
Are you looking for a motion?
Yes.
All right.
Yep.
I move to approve an ordinance authorizing general obligation bonds for the Atrium Hotel and Convention Center demolition and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Richardson?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Nager?
Yes.
Foss?
Yes.
Bass?
Yes.
Item 8B, consider an ordinance repealing Hutchinson City Code Section 24-302 relating to criminal littering.
Paul Brown, City Attorney. Council, this is strictly housekeeping. That's all this is. Before, we had a criminal littering provision in the city code because the UPOC did not have one. And then the UPOC included that provision. And my municipal court supervisor, being as bright and talented as she is, pointed out to me that we had it in both locations. So this is strictly housekeeping to get rid of the old provision in the code because it's already covered by a provision in here. And I would ask you to approve the motion.
So it's just not double the fine since we have.
Yeah, we could just double the fine or issue 2 tickets, 2 court fees.
If you look at the fines in the provision that's in the UPOC, they're substantial
For littering or in general?
for littering.
What is it? Pop quiz.
Okay, 6.8, here it comes.
We could go ahead and approve this while he looks that up.
I've got it. 6.8. First time, it's a minimum of $250. Second time, not less than $1,000. Third time, not less than $2,000. Don't throw out your gum wrapper.
Yep.
That was enlightening. Thank you. I move to approve an ordinance repealing Hutchinson City Code Section 24-302 relating to criminal littering and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Richardson?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Nager?
Yes.
Foss?
Yes.
Bass?
Yes.
Item 8E, consider a resolution for public hearing regarding 3405 East 4th Avenue.
Good evening, council members. Jason Lady, building official. So tonight I bring you a resolution, request for motion to approve a resolution fixing a time and a place at which the owner and his agents, lien holders of record, and any occupant of such structure at 3405 East 4th Avenue may appear to show cause why such structure should be or should not be condemned and order repaired or demolished, and authorize the mayor to sign. So a couple things here. Roll through my slides. So 34, this is 3405 East 4th Avenue. This is out there on Airport Road. The reason it's 4th Avenue off of Duffy Road, it has an entrance there on 4th Avenue. And then, so this is the south end. As you might know, there's a portion of that building that is collapsed. So this is just a couple photos before we get the details of my summary of the staff agenda report. This is the interior viewing to the southwest. The east side interior viewing to the south. Again, viewing to the west. Close-up view to the southwest. This is a west wall. You can see there's some deviation in the wall there, and you can see where the deviation in the wall has also separated from the roof structure up there. This is the that was the west side of that wall. This is the east side of that same wall. You can see some flexing in that wall, and then you can see where the structure is actually pulling away from the wall. And you can see this column right here is actually bending. So I'm going to leave this up. I'm going to go through my executive summary real quick, if that's all right. On July 11th, just to give you a little bit of background, on July 11th, 2024, interim building official Michael Post, along with the building inspection staff, met on site and determined that the commercial property located at 3405 East 4th Avenue was in violation of city code, and determined the structure to be unsafe for public occupancy or occupancy in general. And it was determined that it was detrimental to the safety of the public and the tenant. The building has had a partial collapse, as I stated and showed there in my slides, on the south end of the structure. Multiple electrical hazards, improper ventilation, no emergency lighting, improper exiting, no fire extinguishers, inoperable fire alarm, and suppression systems, along with other numerable code violations that we have not annotated here right now. The present tenant also does not have a valid approved certificate of occupancy to legally occupy the structure. The property is owned by a Mr. Pat Devaney, mailing address in Des Moines, Iowa, and consists of a one-story commercial warehouse, approximately 340,000 square feet. Upon inspection, the structure was found in poor condition and has been occupied for approximately 4 years with no certificate of occupancy. Staff mailed a courtesy notice to the owner of record the same day of the inspection on July 11, 2024. Staff met with the owner, Mr. Devaney, and Mr. Razier. He is the tenant of F&H LLC on the site. And that meeting was conducted on July 17, 2024. Staff advised that the building was unsafe and dangerous structure. The structure was boarded up and signage affixed that said, "Do not enter, unsafe to occupy." Staff received follow-up communication that the tenant desired to remove their product from inside the structure, and in agreement of allowing the tenant not to lose his product, an agreement was reached to allow that the product was to be removed. Due to the nature of the product, a deadline of 1 November 2024 was set at that time. So on October 2nd, 2024, myself, the building official, made a site visit to witness the collapse of the structure, the photos that we just went through, and you can see the photos that are attached also, same photos that are attached to my staff report. It was also understood during that meeting that the members of the community had been entering the structure to purchase products as well, which had previously been strictly prohibited by city staff. After follow-up with the city inspection staff, a follow-up on the site visit was made on 4 October 2024 by myself, fire marshal, planning director, and the city manager, and met with F&H staff members on site and Mr. Razier present via telephone, and advised that city inspection staff will secure the gates and operations in the structure to remove the product, which could only happen during normal business hours. So we didn't want anybody in there during any off hours, because there's no lighting in there, just kind of for safety's sake, and we didn't want the public coming back in there. So we just wanted to limit it to their staff removing product only. No members of the community could be allowed inside the structure. F&H staff members were not allowed in the collapsed portion of the structure, and the 1 November deadline to remove all the product from the structure was still applicable. A letter was once again sent to the owner, Mr. Devaney, and Mr. Razier, the tenant, on October 4, 2024. There have been follow-up meetings with the city inspection and fire staff, with both Mr. Devaney, Mr. Razier, and their legal counsel since the time that these letters have been sent, based on the owner and tenant's wish to evaluate the structure to determine whether it was cost-effective to rehabilitate the structure and bring it back into compliance with city code. We have currently extended the date to remove their product to December 1st, 2024. And a major part of why we did that at this point is because if we move forward with this process here tonight for a public hearing, there's certain things, steps, hoops we have to jump through before we can have that public hearing. So it just gives them a little bit more time to get their product out while we're in this process. Upon further research, inspection staff found that there were previous conversations going on with Mr. Razier and Mr. Devaney since 2021. with a signed application by Mr. Razier for an updated certificate of occupancy in which communication failed and resulted in a letter being sent to Mr. Razier that he could not occupy the building and that a sprinkler system was required in the structure. Based on the previous history with the property owner and the tenant at 3405 East 4th Avenue, city staff is requesting to pursue this resolution as presented tonight as a failsafe in the event that the owner does not bring the structure back into compliance or demolish the structure on their own accord. In its current condition, the structure is unsafe and dangerous for public occupancy. It does not meet the minimum code standards as adopted by the city's property maintenance, building code, or fire code. Due to the condition of the structure as described above that renders the structure as an unsafe and dangerous structure, a resolution is presented for adoption to set a public hearing for the date of December 17, 2024, at which time any person having any interest in the property may appear and show cause why the structure should not be declared unsafe and dangerous and order it to be repaired or demolished. Just a little bit of fiscal impact, much like the Atrium Hotel, the fiscal impact would, the property would be unknown at this point. Cost to demolish would be run through that same process as the Atrium did, as attaining the bids and demolition contractors if the city were to proceed with the demolition. So action requested here tonight is that staff recommends the adoption of the resolution setting a public hearing for the date of December 17, 2024 pursuant to KSA 12-1750 and to consider ordering the structure of 340,000 square feet commercial warehouse at 3405 East 4th Avenue to be repaired and or demolished. Do you have any questions?
I would make note that I think this has been going on long before July 1st.
Yes.
At least I've been aware of it and had at least a couple meetings scheduled with the tenant there and, you know, missing in action. And so I don't know how one sets up a business without a certificate of occupancy. How does that happen? Doesn't the water trigger that? Somebody requesting water service? Is there water service to the building?
There's tanks out there.
Water tanks?
They're taking
Where's
tanks
the water
out.
getting? Huh? Okay. Okay. I'm just curious how we got to this point. Don't want to belabor this. The action will be taken on December 17th.
Yeah, during the December 17th meeting, we'll have a further timeline of all the actions that happen from a timeline of the city council meeting in 2010 all the way to the timeline where we're at today.
Okay.
Do you think the owner has any intent of repairing the building? In conversations with him?
In
or?
Conversations, has a want. I don't know if he has the intent.
Okay.
You know, obviously he wants to keep this structure. He wants to keep producing what he's producing out of the structure, and continuing to run his business out of there. But not only do we have an unsafe and dangerous structure, but many of you know this is a major entry into Hutchinson, and we have a building out there that's sitting there as a blight.
So there's a tenant. Is the owner involved in the operations as well, or is it just the tenant involved in the operations?
They are related family by marriage.
Okay.
Yes. But it's unknown whether the owner is actually involved in the operations or not, but in my discussions, I do not believe so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at this point, if the business owner, the tenant, allows people to continue to come into the building and make purchases and whatnot, conduct business, like what's the next step for holding him accountable for this?
So the next step we would have at this point would just be to go ahead and order the building to be boarded. And then we would lock up all of his product, all of his gates, and he wouldn't have access to the building at all. I think we've been fair in the fact that this has been ongoing since July. The staff has gone out there and performed these actions. And I think we've been fair in the fact that we've given him since July to remove his product out of the building. And in my view of it, he has continued to move his product out of the building through normal business operations, as opposed to getting his product really out of an unsafe and dangerous structure. Now he has some reasoning behind that, which I don't 100% agree with, but you know, if he shows up to the meeting on the 17th of December, I'm sure he'll explain that process as well.
And so if the building does become, if we do board up the building, and he enters, he would be trespassing?
Yes.
He could be served with and arrested for trespassing?
Yes.
If we board it up, what's our timeline after that for further actions?
Well, the further actions, we'd still have to go through this process.
Right, I understand that.
We'd have to go through the process to abate. We'd have to go through the process to
3 to 6 months, or are you longer than that? Probably
longer.
Longer. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not sure what legal counsel he's retained at this point. The last communication that I've had with this legal counsel, they have not replied to me. So.
And just for some clarification here, and maybe the council knows this, but this is a live product. It's not crock pots on pallets. So
it's a worm farm, correct?
It's a worm farm,
Yeah,
and
it's not like they're kittens.
And yeah, so that's what's complicating this a little bit, and so anyway, can we move forward with the? We probably need to just approve the hearing for the 17th.
I move to approve a resolution for public hearing regarding 3405 East 4th Avenue and authorize the mayor to sign.
Second.
Richardson?
Yes.
Garza?
Yes.
Mays?
Yes.
Goff?
Yes.
Yes. That's okay. The one time I'm paying
She does not
attention.
recognize. She
The
does
one
not
time I'm
recognize
paying
your
attention.
authority here.
Item 9A, new business, discussion regarding school zone infrastructure.
Evening, Council, Mayor.
Evening.
Sis Weibel, Director of Public Works. Still getting used to that, so.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So we're here tonight to discuss some school zone and some signage that we're looking into. We're not asking for anything tonight as far as a resolution or anything to go with it. We just kind of want to give you an idea of what we're after, and then we're going to move forward with that, and we'll come back with some more details. But I'm going to have Greg and Officer Hammond, give us a little bit of background on some of what we're after. We're primarily looking at about 4 schools right now that are on arterial streets in Hutch. And then we can look at some other schools later that are more kind of in neighborhoods that don't have higher traffic. But have Greg give you a little bit of the map first, and then we'll do some traffic data, and then I'll come back and answer questions.
Good evening, Greg DeGarmo, Engineering. I made up this map so we could have a visual look at the schools. So with Wiley and Ferris and McCandless with Green, they're kind of nestled in residential areas, and they're a little safer from traffic. There's at least a block from the nearest arterial street. But then we have Morgan up there, which has Adams right beside it, Graber, which has 17th, Allen Magnet School, which is on Monroe, and then HMS 7, which is on Avenue A. And then red is HMS 8 and Hutch High School, which they're both on arterials, and they don't have any type of signals for crosswalks or anything at this time. So I think we're looking at
the signs for Graber and Allen Magnet School, and then HMS 7 and HMS 8 to begin with. And then we'd assess others and see that if there's a need there, so.
I'm Traffic Officer Lane Hammond with the Hutchinson Police Department. A little bit of stats regarding our school zones. So I pulled stats from 2021 through April of this year. In 2021, there were 327 traffic stops within our school zones, 334 in 2022, and then 597 in 2023. In 2024, just the 4 months, we had 284. So we're totaling over 1,500 traffic stops within our school zones. A little bit of crash data. So it pulled up from the same time frame, accidents and runs and injury car crashes. We had a total of 28 in 2021, 24 in 2022, 39 in 2023, and as of so far through April, we had 7. A little bit of proactiveness from my police department. On September 24th, officers conducted how would I explain it? A focused area of patrolling along Graber Elementary. Within 1 hour, we made 19 traffic stops for speeders. So the stats, in my opinion, are there for the justification of these signage within these 4 school zones.
And those stops were on 17th, I'm assuming, by Graber.
So the initial violation was on 17th in Cleveland, where that intersection is, where we had that recent injury, pedestrian versus car crash. A little limitations to my data is where the actual stop occurred. So all the traffic stops occurred within a 5-block radius of the school.
And that was just at Graber you did the saturation? It wasn't at the other schools?
Correct. That was 19 in 1 hour.
Okay.
And that was between 3 and 4.
And you have 4 schools you're wanting to put additional signage up for?
That's correct.
Are you going to do saturations of those other 3 schools, or?
It really depends on if the city allows us to.
Okay.
The city was polite that day, so we were able to have officers actually conduct the speed enforcement at that location.
And I agree, Graber is a pretty, I would agree with the signage at Graber, because it's.
Especially during September, during the state fair.
Well, just this morning, I drive through that every single day, and just this morning, somebody flew through it. It was 8:15, and I have tag numbers. But, yeah, I drive through that one every single day, at least one of them every day. And I would say every week there's somebody who maybe they're just unaware of what time it is, because if school starts at 7:50, there's usually not kids out at 8:15, but it's still a school zone, and you're required to slow down. The flashing lights are just the final reminder to slow down. I'm all for this. I love this idea, and I appreciate all of the research that you guys have done. And Greg, when you were talking, you said that the 4 were Graber, Morgan 7 and 8, or Graber, Allen 7 and 8, but it's Morgan instead. And I would agree that those are the ones that are a priority for sure.
So to clarify, the 4 that we are looking at are number one priority will be Graber, and then we're looking at HMS 7 and 8, and then Allen as well. We have those artery streets along those main roads, along that school zone.
There is a traffic signal at Allen and at Morgan.
Mm-hmm. Correct.
How does that play into this?
Well,
Still,
just last week, I had somebody doing 44 through Allen. So the
on
traffic
Monroe there.
Correct. So the traffic signal does draw attention to students crossing, but we're still gonna have those people that don't pay attention to their surroundings.
The traffic was backed up to 11th today, and people were doing stuff they shouldn't do. So that stuff happens.
One other thing kind of didn't mention at the beginning. So all of these schools already have traffic zones with signs.
Mm-hmm.
The signs we're looking at actually have flashing beacons to alert traffic as to what's going on and why. So it's going to be the same signage. We're not changing the zones in any way. It's just bringing more attention to them. And then one of the other thing is because there is a cost. So each of these signs are going to be solar paneled, and so they're going to be nice, bright. You will be able to see them, but they are about $5,000 per sign at cost of a month ago. So, and once we get everything in place and we make sure we're all good, we can get them ordered and have them in. We are looking at a turnaround of somewhere between 4 and 8 weeks from the company we checked into. But we haven't actually gone out to bid or anything. We've just got some quotes right now.
Are they going to be similar to the signs like out east on East 30th?
No, actually, they quit making those. Those cost a lot more. Those are actually
really?
like $10,000 a sign. Yeah. So you can order those or build those in directly. Mr. Garza would know. He's helped build some of those. But these are a newer style that have a smaller footprint and the solar panels. So they have a lot longer life with a lot lower maintenance cost. They do cost a little more to put up, but after they're up, the maintenance cost is considerably less than the older, bigger style that has actual control cabinet and everything built into it. So.
And I would add to this discussion that to help pay for this, we did pull money just from the arterial street maintenance program, where we were able to make some cuts just to make sure that if we went down this path that we could afford it.
Secondary question. Are Bueller's school zone times the same as Hutch's?
No.
Can they be?
That's a question for the schools.
It's based off of the school start times. The school zone times within Hutch aren't even the same.
Okay. Well, I just know that when I enter a school zone, I'm always looking for that sign that says when it is, and it'd be nice if they were all the same, but.
Well, now they will be flashing.
So
you don't have to check the time.
Fair. That's fair.
Yeah, that's the good about these. I mean, the standard signs are just up. You have to look and read them.
Mm-hmm.
These will be flashing when school zone is in effect.
No, I see them in other cities that I visit. I mean, very common.
I assume they're time clock based. Am I right?
They are. So we would still have to at minimum once a year, go out and set these after we get with the schools and make sure we can have them so that holidays and stuff won't be flashing during days when school's not in session.
And they're probably 12-volt systems on a solar system.
I believe so.
And are they little square signs, or?
No, we would actually be putting the full-size signs in. They would be, the signs we can make in-house just like normal. Mm-hmm. It's the LEDs above and below that we can have in place.
They're yellow offset flashing.
Yes.
Correct.
Does it make sense to do flashers? I'm thinking of Ferris and Lincoln McCandless. The streets are a lot more narrow there. Granted, they still have students walking, but for a street, like, it just seems like you wouldn't get much above 20 on 10th Street to begin with.
Yeah, and that's where we're looking. So we were starting with these, and then we would do more studies along with the Hilton Police Department to see if there's a need or warrant in the others because of the cost.
Yeah.
We didn't want to just go throw it at every school and spend money that's not necessarily needed.
Well, I think for uniformity, I support all of them. I think that the prioritization that you have here makes a lot of sense. And for Hutch High, I assume it would be along Severance.
Correct.
I do support Graber 100% without your study. I would actually like to know a little bit more at the other three to see what the traffic is for some of those. I mean, I know Morgan along Adams Street. I know that's fairly busy. So that's definitely one we should definitely take a look at as well. But the other two I'd kind of curious about. So
I have it's a hot map of where each traffic stop occurred. I can present that. It's not gonna give you a hard number, but just a general area of how many dots are within that school zone.
Okay.
And we could also get traffic counts at these locations. So like HMS 7, we're planning on having it on Avenue A. We wouldn't be having the flashing on the side street. Same thing with HMS 8 it'd be on that main street.
And I could see those busier streets too,
Yeah.
for on those places.
So right now we're looking at each of these schools would have 2 signs, and it'd be on that primary arterial street that has a higher speed and the higher traffic count typically.
So there's two schools that you don't have on here, which is the Lincoln Building on Bigger, which still has a school zone. Grandview we took out, but then there's the Midtown Avenue A, the old Avenue A building. Granted that that's going through all the Woody C construction over the next couple of years. What are your thoughts on the safety of that street?
It'll be something that we have to look into along with the other schools.
Okay.
But, the main focus that we're looking at are for those 4 main ones, with consideration to all the other schools within Hutchinson.
Okay.
Yeah, we didn't leave those out on purpose to not say we weren't.
Okay.
We just highlighted these as an example to start.
Did we have those installed up there at Bueller for Plum Creek? Is that what's up there?
Yes.
Is that what we would be looking at to do?
Similar
Similar.
size, but not the exact model. They've kind of changed a little bit over the last couple of years.
Paul, how much is a ticket for a school zone violation?
So you're trying to get to the point where
Can we afford?
Court costs are
can we just-
$79 alone, so.
The base fine is double for a school zone,
Yeah.
so it depends
Okay.
on how much over the posted speed limits they are.
Okay.
Throw some trash out the window, it adds to it.
Yeah.
Why was Monroe so backed up? Is that every morning?
So you have a stoplight there, and there's a couple of school buses, Durham school buses that
Okay.
come in. It was this afternoon. So driving south, they're stopped, and it backed up traffic through the intersection at 11 in Monroe, because it's
Okay.
only a couple blocks.
Yeah, well, I wonder if we can help that with. if the
I don't
school
see it
district-
very often. It's just if you hit it at the right time,
Yeah.
and then people are in a hurry and they start
And-
going around and all that fun stuff.
I have to assume that Dr. Johnson would be all for this. She's not here, but.
I did talk to school administrators and with Dr. Johnson, and all the principals and Dr. Johnson are in favor of this.
Now, there was mention of Hutch High. Right now, Hutch High doesn't actually have a speed zone around it. So that would have to have a conversation with the school and see if they want to have that or not. We just threw that on here because it is the biggest school currently. So having that information, that would be one we'd have to look into more.
Is there a problem by Hutch High, other than kids being silly when they drive?
The kids are being kids, but
Yeah.
kids need to still pay attention to their fellow classmates.
I think with the majority of the students parking in the sports arena parking lot and then along Severance, they're not crossing the same way that they are at some of the other schools. They're not crossing the street. They're crossing 13th Street. But if you're on 13th Street, you're probably going into the school or the YMCA to begin with. So I think it's just it's a whole different animal over there. And there's an SRO every day out front. I feel like Hutch High is really safe.
And there's also, we've already talked to them as well. They're changing their parking plan, or they're making the campus more secure in the future.
Yeah.
So students may not park as far back on Severance because they're not going to have to want to walk all the way up to 13th.
Mhm.
So when that goes into effect, they'll only be able to enter the school on 13th or behind the building on 15th Circle. So that may eliminate a lot of the parking on Severance.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. DeGarmo, I have a question for you. So on 17th Street, there's the 2 lanes. There's the short turn lane, for lack of a better word. Do you know why we have that? And it's right before that street there. I can't read the name of it.
Are you talking about heading east on 17th, turning south on Cleveland?
Heading west on 17th Street.
To turn south on Cleveland.
The left turn lane.
It's not a turn lane. It's like when you are westbound, you go through the intersection. You're on 17th Street.
Okay.
And there's 2 lanes that go straight through the intersection, and then it merges.
One of those is actually a turn lane.
It's
You're supposed to get into that right-hand lane to go around and leave that center lane so people can make it turn southbound onto Cleveland.
No, she's talking about 17th and Severance, the lane,
Mhm.
the lane that turns right onto. I think that's
Starts with F.
Yeah.
That sounds right.
Yeah.
So.
I was thinking at the light.
Yeah, no, at Severance and
Faircrest,
17th.
yes.
Faircrest.
17th and Severance heading west to turn right onto Faircrest.
Yes.
Why is that there?
I don't have an answer for you.
Okay.
It is something we're actually addressing that. with the reconstruction of 30th from Main to Adams. We're going to make that a dedicated right turn lane, so on the west side of the intersection there won't be two lanes merging into one. So we are eliminating that in there with this reconstruct that will be happening this next year. If you come up on the right lane, you'll have to turn north. You won't be able to go through. So that's something that I know it does cause issues with cars trying to beat each other from the lights. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you talking about the west side of the intersection?
Yes.
Comes down, yeah, just like at Main.
I believe some of those are probably just older engineering standards that are just now catching up, so.
Yeah.
We know people use it just to speed up and get past the person on the road, so.
All right. We will consider this. Thank you for presenting to us.
Just appreciate it.
All right. Do we have Cox Communication here? Oh, awesome. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm Colleen Jennison. I'm the Vice President of the Kansas Market. Mayor and members of the council, thanks for having me here. I will be brief. I'm sure everybody's excited to watch election returns. Cox has a proud history of serving Hutchinson and Reno County. We continue to be a family-owned business with over 25 years of experience building broadband and telecommunications in Kansas. Through our numerous sponsorships, Cox Charities Opportunities, and Boys and Girls Club lab donations, Cox and its employees have given over $22,000 in 2024 and nearly $30,000 in 2023 in Hutchinson and Reno County alone. We have 17 employees in the surrounding area, and a few of us this spring, including myself, actually mulched the Boys and Girls Club playground. So that was a lot of fun this spring to do that. Cox has also demonstrated its commitment to serving rural areas of Kansas and expanding fiber throughout. In the past 2 years, Cox has expanded to 11 communities with our own private dollars in Kansas, including Douglas, Assaria, and Altamont. Cox has also received a previous grant from the state to build 1,300 homes in rural Shawnee County, which will be completed in early 2025. At the same time, Cox has invested nearly $12 billion in network upgrades over the past 10 years to deliver some of the most powerful communications and entertainment services, and will continue to make multi-billion-dollar annual infrastructure investments over the next several years. Cox was named the winner of the Rural Connectivity Award by the Broadband Community Summit's 2024 Cornerstone Awards, which honors internet service providers or communities leading initiatives to improve connectivity for rural areas. Cox completed a study in 2024 of consumers with recently available high-speed internet in previously underserved communities. The study found that 86% say the service improved their lives. It stimulates economic growth in rural communities, narrows the education gap between lower and higher income households, and encourages younger generations to remain in their communities with greater ability of remote learning and working. To that end, Cox Communications is actively working to build broadband to unserved and underserved areas in Kansas, including participating in the federal BEAD grant program, which is administered through the Kansas Office of Broadband Development. BEAD, which stands for Broadband Equity, Access, and Deployment, is a $42 billion federally funded program to get broadband to unserved and underserved areas. Kansas received $452 million for this grant program. The Kansas Office of Broadband Development opened the BEAD grant portal, and we are preparing our grant applications now to deploy our high-speed network to more Kansans. This is an RFP process administered by the state of Kansas. Areas of Kansas via maps have been released publicly, and all providers have the opportunity to review, analyze, and apply for those areas. Cox is looking at areas across the state, including areas that serve the larger community of Hutchinson. To support our application, we are requesting your partnership through a letter of support. This letter does not prevent you from supporting other providers in addition to our application. We all share the same goal: expanding broadband to unserved and underserved Kansans. KOBD, its consultants and staff will review each application using a scoring system that was established over a year ago and approved by the NTIA earlier this year. Awards for areas will be based on the score of that application. Because the grant portal is now open, we are in the middle of the blackout period in which we cannot provide specific information about the areas for which we will apply. Once the grants are awarded, then that information will become public. The grant portal closes on December 5th, so we are hoping to have all letters collected by the end of November so we may include them in our application. And I would be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Well, I believe I signed a letter and supported that already.
Fantastic, thank
If
you.
we haven't, I will.
Okay, I appreciate it.
Been working on that.
Thank you.
Is that the one? Okay, we've talked about. I'll follow up on that and make sure that's done.
I appreciate it.
You bet.
Anything else? Any other questions? No. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. All right.
Item 9, report of city officials.
Steve?
Yes, if everybody knows or don't know, our Hutch is in their playoffs. They did their first round of playoffs. I love watching Hutch. I go there every time. They won 47-7, I believe, last Friday, and they're going to have another game. They're going to their second round of playoffs this Friday. So I'd like to see all the citizens come out and support our team. I mean, they're doing a great job. If they win, they're going to probably go to the 5A championship for the 5A. So if all citizens would just pack that stadium, we'll scare the heck out of the other team. So let's get up there and support our Hutch. They're a great team, and they need our support. I look up there and I don't see the stands full, man. Come on, this is Hutchinson. We have great football players. Let's get them up there this Friday at Gowan Stadium. Also, the Bricktown celebration was last weekend, I believe, and it was great. The band was great. A little cold. We had a party a lot of people didn't make because it was cold, but I had fun dancing, and they pulled it off real well. They had to cancel it because of the rain the first time, but other than that, that was a great celebration. Other than that, that's all I have, sir. Thank you.
All right, John?
I would have to commend everyone's efforts last night at Memorial Hall for the community meeting. I thought I wouldn't say aggressive, but the very proactive approach to communicating to the community to try to get people to come and participate was very evident. I thought the way the information was gathered was very, very good. I hope we continue to do those meetings. We were joking last night that, having a meeting in the fall, we talk about grass height in summer. The next meeting in the spring, it'll be potholes from clearing snow, and then it'll rotate into the grass, then back to potholes every year. But I thought it was a really good meeting, and it looks like we don't have a meeting for November 19th. So I would tell everyone to prepare for all the Christmas festivities, since our next meeting is in early December, and we have a big parade coming up. And I will get in trouble if I don't mention that. So that's all I have.
Scott?
I want to echo what John and Garza said. But we also have Bueller heading to the football playoffs as well. And then I also wanted to talk about last night. Thanks, Jessica and all the staff for putting all that together. It's really exciting to get more and more people out to talk to us about what's going on in our city. Checking out the pictures from the fire department, I didn't realize we had such a big brush truck lineup. That was pretty impressive. I saw that picture today. So, and I think that's all I have.
Stacy, start the counter.
I echo everyone's remarks about last night's community event. I appreciate all of the effort that you put into marketing and the pre-planning from all departments. I look forward to getting the results and everything, which will essentially tell us where to go for the next couple of months, and maybe guide some of the strategic decisions that staff as well as council have to make. So football and parades and all of that good stuff, I feel like you guys put me last so that I wouldn't have as much to say.
It's right here. The order that is broadcast.
I know.
I didn't do this one.
No, I know. I was just giving you a hard time.
Had I thought about it. But
I think that covers everything. November 19th is the chamber dinner. That's why.
Right. That's why.
Yes.
That's why we don't have a meeting.
Everybody has said everything that I could possibly say. I'll reiterate the Christmas parade. What's the date on that again?
I believe it's the 7th, which is Saturday. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Very, very successful last year. Looking forward to even a better parade this year. And we'll continue to move forward. I appreciate everybody that came out yesterday for the meeting. I was amazed, and hopefully we get new input as we go, or we get new folks coming out every time, especially if we move it into different areas. So, Enrico, it's all yours.
Nothing from me, but I will turn it over to Evan.
Good evening, Council. Evan Patterson, City Engineer. Thank you for your time tonight. I just wanted to give an update on the State Fair Detention Basin project. After my last presentation, we've been working to coordinate with the other stakeholders in the project. And through that process, we've realized that there are a number of events in the schedule that will require fairly precise planning for the construction of the detention pond itself. So the original schedule for construction of the detention pond was driven by the agreement that we'd made with the State Fair. We had a completion date of, I think, March 2026 per that agreement. And we felt that that was artificially cramping our ability to coordinate well with our other partners. So we met with Brian Schultz, the general manager of the State Fair, to determine if they were amenable to possibly revising the agreement to push out that date to allow us a little more time. In particular, I'm worried about the possible coordination issues with another construction project in the area. The school district is planning to go, as all of you know, planning to go forth with a vote on a bond issue in April for a new middle school that would be just north of where the detention basin is. And the possible conflicts between those two projects and coordination for road closures and access for all of the other stakeholders. While I've managed projects like that before, it's quite challenging. So we feel that it's in the city's best interest to wait until after the results of that bond vote so that we can better plan to coordinate the construction activities. The design is moving forward, as is our coordination, but that does give us a little more time to plan appropriately. Do you have any questions?
Good foresight.
Yeah. All right.
I want to make a remark that was mentioned last night during the meeting about mosquitoes and water being held in the pond. The concern was that when the pond is full of water, it will house mosquitoes. I had that same question. I did some research last night, and it takes a mosquito at minimum 4 days to become a mosquito. I have no doubt that this pond is a fantastic addition and definitely needed, and will solve a lot of problems from that whole area as you've shown on the map. So I look forward to everything that you guys put forth in the next couple of years, and that's all I have to say about it.
Cool. Well, thank you all very much. Let us know if you have other questions.
Thank you, Evan. All right. Anything else? We have 2 executive sessions. The first one, how much time do we need?
30 minutes.
30? All right. We will resume at 7:55, if I could get a motion.
I move that.
Okay.
Second.
Yes.
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 you're fine.
Okay, we're reconvened. We need a motion to recess into executive session pursuant to the personnel matters of non-elected personnel exception, KSA 754319B1, in order to discuss city manager matters. The open meeting to resume the city council chambers at
20 minutes.
Yeah.
8:20. 8:20. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Yes.
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 You're ahead of me. we good back there? All right. Is there a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second.
Richardson.
Yes.
Garza.
Yes.
Meggers.
Yes.
Goss. Fast.
Yes.
We are adjourned.
Thank
Thanks.
you, everybody.